Are you a developer who's looking for ways to stand out and be recognized and rewarded for delivering outstanding value? Well, I believe that mastering defect resolution is one of the best ways a developer can deliver maximum value and be recognized for it. And in this video, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why I think you should care about mastering defect resolution. But before I do that, I'd like to share with you a story of a time when I was struggling to be recognized as a top developer. I'd been working in software for about 15 years, and my roles over the last few years had been increasingly focused on delivery management and technical management, and less on direct technical contribution. And I really was eager to get into a role where I was working with the code, engaged with the code on a daily basis. So I was interviewing with a new organization, and the owner of the company felt that I'd been out of the game too long, my skills were too rusty, and I didn't know the tech stack. And so he wasn't comfortable giving me a role as a senior engineer. So he offered me a role as a Scrum Master. Well, I took the role because I liked the company. I'd been doing Scrum work in my previous roles, and I thought maybe I could get my technical fix just working on side projects. For me, that turned out to be a complete fallacy that I'll address in a later video. So after a year, I know I'm not doing the work I want to be doing. I really still miss being involved in the code. Fortunately for me, I had done a good job. I delivered a lot of value as a Scrum Master. And so they were willing to give me a trial period as a developer on a team. And if I did well, then they would promote me to a senior engineer. So I get to my team, and I haven't been coding in a while, and I don't know the tech stack, and the lead of the team doesn't know me, doesn't know what I can do. So they assigned me to work on defects. Well, I was just so happy to be working with code again. It didn't matter what I was working on. But I really was grateful for the opportunity, and I really wanted to transition into this more development focused role. So I determined and I committed that I was going to deliver as much value as I could on these defects. Well, fast forward 3 months later, and I've delivered 55 defects, many that were high severity, high visibility. In fact, there was one defect that the secretary of the VA had an active interest in and was calling to get regular updates. So it worked. They saw the value I could deliver, and they offered me a role as a senior engineer. Within a month or two, I was promoted to tech lead, and I ended up leaving that organization after about 5 years in a senior technical role. Now, I tell you that story not to toot my own horn, but so that you understand that I have seen firsthand how mastering defect resolution can help get you recognized and rewarded, whatever that looks like for you. If that's increased compensation, if that's more responsibility, promotion, whatever that looks like, mastering defect resolution is one of the best ways to get you the goals that you want to achieve. So now I'd like to share with you my 3 reasons why I think you should care about mastering defect resolution. The first one I've already alluded to is maximizing impact. When we think about maximizing impact in software, I think we tend to think of delivering killer features. Features that the internal and external stakeholders will just absolutely fall in love with. And that's great. But you can't always control when those features will be prioritized. You can't control who works on those features. And many features don't have an immediate visible impact for stakeholders. So they may not even recognize the value you delivered because it was delivered in working on infrastructure or back end things. But defects are always available. Have you ever worked on a project that has not had some number of high severity defects that are sitting there waiting for someone to pick them up? And I can guarantee you that your project and product leadership and your customers are very aware of some of the issues that have been impacting users. Unblocking users, eliminating the need for annoying workaround, preventing customers from churning, all have immediate and significant impacts on the organization. And in my experience, the developer who resolves these issues is recognized for having done so. And if you want to double down on that impact, it's as simple as sharing what you've learned. Sharing how you reproduce that defect that nobody could figure out how to reproduce. Sharing how you dug in and dove down and figured out the root cause. Sharing how you implemented a robust solution that handles all the edge cases and this isn't going to be a problem anymore. Sharing that knowledge elevates the standard of practice for the team and really maximizes the value and the impact that you can have. The second reason I think you should care about mastering defect resolution is to maximize learning. Look, there's no better way, in my opinion, to learn a code base than to have a problem that you're trying to solve in that code base. Instead of just kind of aimlessly exploring files in a repository, you have context for looking into the functions and the classes and the modules and the front end and the back end. You have something that's driving that journey towards a particular outcome. And that's just going to make it a lot easier, it's going to make it a lot easier to really uncover what's going on in the code. And if you do that over a wide enough cross-section, which I encourage you to do, don't just pick defects in an area that you're familiar with, even if you already know the code base. If a defect pops up and it's an area that you're not familiar with, take that defect on and work on it so you can learn that area. And if you do that often enough and across a wide enough section of the code base, you will learn that code base much, much faster and be able to deliver much more value quicker than if you were simply just looking through the code. And in the process, you'll learn not only how the code works, but you will probably encounter things that maybe don't make sense. And you should not assume when you encounter something that doesn't make sense that there is a great reason why it was done that way. You might find that it was done that way out of expediency. You might find it was done that way because someone was working on an issue and this change seemed to make it work, and so they, said okay, and they moved on. You might find that there is a reason why they did it that way, and through the process of resolving defects in the code base and asking questions from the team, you'll understand why things were done a certain way. You'll understand their philosophy, their vision for how their code is constructed, which is very important if you're going to be a contributor. In addition to that, you're going to find things that could be done better. You're going to find places where things don't work as well as they should, or they're more complicated, or what have you. And those are going to become your targets for future refactors. So working on defects is going to give you a great understanding of the code base, why the code base is the way it is, and why certain decisions were made, and also where there's opportunities for improvement when you have an opportunity to refactor later. And the third reason that I feel you should focus on mastering defect resolution is to maximize your efficiency and your quality. The skills that you will apply and develop and hone in researching defects and finding root cause will be the same skills that you will use that will make you effective in debugging your feature work or your defect fixes. Those same skills will apply. In addition to that, as you're working on defects, you're going to find a lot of defects reside in the edge cases. A lot of defects reside in the scenarios that we didn't think about. And so as a result, you're going to have those in the back of your mind. And when you're debugging your code, when you're testing your code, you're going to be testing against those edge cases. But better than that, because you have that knowledge of these edge cases and how these edge cases have caused problems, you're going to proactively put into your code solutions or address those edge cases to make sure that they're not a problem. So you're going to be better at debugging because you've developed these great skills, and you're going to be better at testing and avoiding problems, your solution having problems in the edge cases because you test for those. But actually, because of your understanding of the edge cases, you're going to be doing less debugging because you proactively implemented a solution for those edge cases. You're going to be better at asking questions during discovery, feature discovery. So when you're talking to product and they're describing a feature they want to implement, you're going to be asking really, really good questions, and you're going to be validating assumptions. Why? Because when you're working on defects, you saw that many defects are caused by a situation where engineering was assuming one thing and product was assuming another thing, and when those don't align, we typically have a defect. So you're going to have seen the impact of not asking questions and not validating assumptions, and you're going to do a much better job of that. And then through the proactive incorporation of considerations for edge cases, through asking better for testing, through testing for edge cases, through asking better questions and validating assumptions, all of that means you're going to deliver code with less defects. In other words, you're going to deliver higher quality code as a result. Now that I've shared with you the 3 reasons why you should care about mastering defect resolution, I want to challenge you to shift your perspective. Instead of thinking of defects as unexciting or unrewarding, think of them as an opportunity to shine. Think of them as an opportunity to demonstrate the value that you can deliver, and be grateful for that opportunity. It's time to take massive action. Pick up that scary defect that you've been avoiding. The scarier, the better. Because with greater challenge, we get closer to mastery and the recognition and rewards that come along with it. I want to thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'd be very grateful if you would leave any feedback in the comments below, what you liked about the video, what you didn't like about the video, any questions that you might have that I can help you with. And please also subscribe to this channel for future videos on defect resolution, as well as other topics related to delivering maximum value as a developer. I look forward to serving you in the future. Until next time, thank you very much.